The Cycle Frontier has finally been officially released and brings a breath of fresh air to the looter shooter genre. And although Cycle Frontier is much more beginner friendly than other games in the genre, looter shooters in general just tend to be not the most easy to start with. And that's why we are going to take a look at everything today so that you can have the most pleasant start possible. So after you've started the game and watched the intro, and of course you watched the intro, right? You land in the main hub. You might already know this from games like Monster Hunter. That is just the area where you interact with people, with NPCs, pick missions, buy, sell, maintain your hideout, and so on. And don't worry, we will go over everything that I just mentioned. But the main driving factor in the game are the 3 factions. They give you missions, you can trade with them, and above all, unlock better and stronger gear as your level increases. The level itself is not your character level though. Instead, it's your reputation with the trader, or just the trader level. This also means that you can potentially have different level with each trader, depending on which one you focus on. Now, how can we increase the trader level? On the one hand, we can simply sell things to the merchant. For that, we get money but also reputation points, especially if we sell very valuable things. But since we need many of those items later on for missions and crafts, this is not the best way. Instead, it's easier to focus on missions. Those are also given by the respective merchants, and for those you also get faction points, vouchers that you need for upgrades, a bit of money, and some items as a reward. And this is the most common way to push your merchant's level. There are also jobs. Those are basically side missions that are repeated over and over again and can be done on the side. The reward is similar but usually a bit worse, and there are always 3 levels with those jobs that will be unlocked after a certain level is reached. And when you complete a mission, usually you just get the next one right away. That's how you work your way up through the storyline. And while you're doing that, you unlock new things in the game like weapons, gadgets, or general upgrades. There is also the default market in the middle that basically just sells the white basic gear. Also, you can't sell anything at that station. Yeah, that's it. Then there's also the 3D printer, and here you can basically craft your gear. You need specific items, and if you have those, you can select whatever you would like to build, press on print, and then you have to wait for, in this case, 15 minutes, or skip the queue if you have the money and the currency. And you can also repair broken armor at a station, and it's pretty straightforward. And then there is of course a hideout. Wouldn't be a looter shooter without a hideout, right? And there's a generator which, well, generates money for you passively. And on the computer you can upgrade specific stations. On the one hand, we have the general level of your hideout on the left, which can also be upgraded from time to time. And then there are the individual stations which you can select and improve right here. You usually need some resources for an upgrade, the voucher from the trader missions that we mentioned before, and then you can improve the station by 1 level and thus get passive bonuses. And those are the basics. I hope so far so clear. Now let's see how we can equip ourselves. Now there are different weapon types and different ammo types. They have the same picture above. Unfortunately, it's not sorted the same way in the store, but you can match the icons on top. Now each weapon has certain stats. For one, that's damage, relatively self-explanatory, I'd say. Magazine size, same thing. But then there is penetration. Now, what does that mean? Now, the whole damage and penetration system with armor and weapons works in a pretty simple way in Cycle. It just looks complex, but let's have a closer look. Now, if we take a standard assault rifle, white one, then we have 10 damage and 10 penetration power. Now, different armored classes have armor values. And if the penetration level equals the armor level, the weapon does exactly the amount of damage that it states, 10. If the weapon has more penetration power than the armor, it does slightly more damage. If it has less, it does less damage. So the armor starts to mitigate some damage. The blue armor, for example, has 13 points more than the penetration of the gun and therefore mitigates a lot of damage. In this case, it mitigates around 40%. Don't rely too heavily on those values, they can change at any patch. It's just so that you understand how it works in the game. So armor does not stop the projectile itself, it just mitigates the amount of damage that you receive. And that's very important to understand. And it only does that if the armored class is above the penetration of the weapon that is shooting at you. So simply put, just use the same color that you see in your raid. So if a lot of people are wearing green armor, you should at least use a green gun. Or you just have to land 1 or 2 bullets more. But okay, now that we understand that, we have to equip a gun. So pick whatever you feel comfortable with. For most people, it's probably the assault rifle at the beginning. And you can also mod the weapon. So you can just buy some attachment, for example, red dot, and then simply press the middle mouse button on the weapon and then drag and drop the attachment onto the weapon. Modding has never been as simple as that before. Now sadly you don't see the effect of your modding visually, at least not here, but in raid, and that's where we want to go. So let's head to the station and choose a map. We will take the easy one because at the beginning you don't want to fight right away against the pretty strong monsters that are on the other map. And on the next screen we can insure our gear. And it works like this. On the right tab you can insure it by basically its value. So if you lose it, you get a portion of the value back. You can also drag it onto the left side, and then if it's not looted, you get the whole item back. But again, you need the special currency for that type of insurance. Whenever insurance returns, you can pick up whatever comes back in your hideout at the generator. And that's always the highlight after a bad evening, when you get all the packages back. But okay, off we go. Now once we land on the planet, I would recommend that you first thing go into a corner and listen, because everybody can see you coming down, so if somebody's close by, they're probably gonna move to your position. Then let's see where we are and open a map by pressing M. And unlike many other games of this genre, we have a complete map and we see where we are, where the exits are, we see all the compounds and so on. They're very beginner friendly, and along the way we will find a lot of loot. For example, this flower, but also this rock that we can actually mine. So press Q on your keyboard, choose the pickaxe, grab whatever's inside, and there you go. In addition, of course, we have some monsters. Now the smaller ones can be killed with a melee attack, but you have to hit. That's the important part here. And if you're lucky, the mobs also drop something. Now you can put it in your backpack, and how your backpack actually works is that it has unlimited space, but it's limited by weight. So if you can't put anything inside, it's probably because you have reached your weight limit and you have to get rid of something heavy. And there are also mobs that you cannot kill with your knife. So if you have to use your gun here. Just be aware, you can hear that pretty far and some people will move towards you. Now there are tons of things that you can do. I don't want to spoil everything. There are puzzles, there are storms, there are meteors. Now there's a lot of things that you can do, but don't forget, you're not alone. There are other players on the map. Now either way, once you're done, your backpack's full, it's time to extract. And once again, open your map, see where you are, check where the next extract is and head there. And once you are in the near vicinity, the game prompts you to press Y. And then a ship is called. It takes a while, but then this beauty appears. You don't have to head straight inside. I would rather check the area to avoid getting jump scared by other people. You just have to be inside when the purple slider reaches 75%. That's all. After the raid, we see some progress, what we collected, who we met, how much damage we dealt, what kind of missions we progressed, and so on. Then you are back in the hub. Just put everything that you looted in your stash, equip your character for the next raid, and there you go. That's the basic game loop in Cycle Frontier. Now one pro tip, don't be beneath the ship when it comes down. It will kill you. But in the name of science, we now know it does 740,286 damage, so good to know I guess. Now eventually you will unlock better gear, progress, upgrade your hideout, and so on. And that's where the fun begins. Now that's basically it, that's Cycle Frontier. I hope this video helps you guys out. If so, don't forget to thumbs up as it really helps the channel. If you have questions, anytime in the comment section down below or Discord. Für die Deutschen unter euch gerne auch auf Twitch. Otherwise, guys, have fun in Cycle Frontier.